Ready to embrace the magical side of life, where anything is possible and the infinite is accessible to all? Let's have a conscious conversation about what's going on in the world, in your life, and your relationship from the expanded perspective of your soul. The path to awareness begins and ends in the heart. So let's take it there, one step at a time, and learn to cultivate magic in your life every single day. In each episode, we share a collective space in which we discover the unique facets of our own magic and embody our superhuman qualities by humbly exploring how it's super simply to be human. Hosts Kai and Dell co-create a magical experience to remind you that you are magical as fuck. Now, be unleashed. This is our daily magic.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Daily Magic. I just want to shout out whoever's here live. We appreciate you. It's us. We're in the oasis, chilling. This is the only part of New Jersey you can find it where it's dark and there's a horror going around. Or is it? So for those of you who don't know why we do this, I'm here to remind you what our Daily Magic is a magical podcast in which we get to showcase other people's magic simultaneously as we showcase ours. We're holding a magical space, and our belief is, like our intro says, you are magical as fuck, and we're here to prove it to you. Sometimes we just need that reminder of just how magical we are, because maybe life sometimes give experiences to try to limit your magic, but we don't do that shit around here. So with this, we are going to have a conversation, and our intent with every conversation is: one, you get to see magic. Two, you get to get magic expressed in unique ways. And then three, you get to find some stuff from the conversation that you can take for yourself that resonates with you. We're not going to say, here's the 12 steps of magic and this is how you're going to do it. Nah, we don't do that shit here. Magic is universal. Magic is infinite. You are infinite, and you're going to get some infinite expressions. And I see there's multiple people here too. Let us know where you at. What is up? What is up? We are here. We're going to get into it today. And what I wanted to, I forgot to say the names, my bad. I'm Dell, and this is
Kai.
And synchronistically, our last names are Henderson. I don't know why. Yeah, so I was going to get into it, and I know it's a great conversation to do, because I was talking about the Kevin Samuels thing before, and I was like, yeah, I was watching Kevin Samuels before, and now I don't. And it's not like I made the decision, I'm not going to watch him anymore. It was actually just a shift in just my awareness to what I'm focused on right now. And obviously before, I was really focused on the Kevin Samuels thing. You remember I was watching it Monday, Wednesday, Friday on YouTube, in which I'll have the YouTube streaming on the TV right here, watching the stuff, hearing the things going on, hearing the way that he was interacting with people, and also pointing at the stuff. So like, yeah, he got her. Get her, Kevin. Get her, get her, get her, get her, get her. It was pretty fun. It was part of the journey, but I wanted to start off with that because also I had a conversation about this yesterday with someone too, and it's in the terms of letting things run its course fully. So, you know how like in the spiritual aspects of stuff or religious aspects, they may be told like, you got to stop these things. You can't do this thing. You got to let it go. You no longer can do this thing. It doesn't serve you. And I like to call it premature servage action. I don't know. Servilation. There we go. Premature servilation. That works better. And when something is still serving you and you prematurely let it go because somebody else told you to let it go. Maybe there was a shame that you got towards doing something or being a certain way or whatever it may be. Something that you were doing in your life and you decided to let it go because someone else told you, you need to let it go. This thing is very bad to do or whatever it may be. And deep down, it's like, yo, the fuck? But I got to do it because master told me I got to do it, so I'm going to be a bad person if I don't do this. So the conversation I was having yesterday was around weed. And the conversation around weed was the person I was talking to smokes weed. And shit, full disclosure, I smoke weed too. But I was talking to it because what happened was with the weed situation was the person was smoking their weed and their intention with it was it's a way like, yo, like, it's like my way of saying like, I'm chilling. But the person felt some judgment towards the smoking weed because their partner doesn't like smoking weed or doesn't like smoking weed like they like to smoke weed. So when the person was smoking the weed, they had the judgment that came up, and synchronistically what happened was the partner asked, oh, you're smoking weed? Just that way. And then what happened from there was the partner heard that and took it as a judgment for what they were doing. And what happened from there is once the partner took on that belief of the judgment, that they felt some type of way. And then from there, felt some type of way, they felt some type of way towards their partner. And what can happen when we feel some type of way towards someone and we start acting now in that role of feeling that type of way towards a person, it's going to spark that other person to feel some type of way as well, and can lead to some conflict and going on. But there was a unicorn that happened with this, because that was the one thing, and that's normally what happens in those type of situations. One person's triggered, the other person gets triggered, and here we go. We're having a sniper battle of triggers. But what happened was the person saw what was going on with their partner and they held space. They didn't respond from a trigger space or upset. They held the space of love, compassion, understanding, and let the person work through what they was working through. And then what happened from there was the person who was initially thinking they was getting judged by their partner, they got into a space to be able to ask the partner, so why did you ask that question about the weed? And then come to find out the partner, the reason why the partner asked that was because the person, they decided to take a little break off of smoking weed synchronicity. They just stopped smoking for a little bit. And then they decided to do it now. And the partner wanted to potentially hold the person accountable if they decide to do something different. And the partner explained that. And by the person getting to hear that, they was like, oh, that's not what I was thinking in my mind, the reason why you did that. And it led to some deeper awareness to it. That's something that is monumental, because How many times do we put a label on something based upon what our mind tells us the reason why something is happening? And then we respond from our mind perspective for why something is happening, as opposed to having the conversation like I was just mentioning. And I felt the need of doing the weed thing because the weed sparked the conversation for myself with my own relationship with weed that I had before, in which it wasn't escapism. And even with the partner that I was mentioning, they was making sure that the person was using it for that type of reason and not for escapism. So it's holding them accountable as well, but holding that space for as well to understand more about the intention behind why the person was doing it. And it's the same thing, like I was mentioning with the weed, because in the spiritual aspects in the journey, I was taught in some spiritual practices out there that smoking weed is bad. Smoking weed is horrible. It's a vice. It's a controlling substance. And you're using it to escape your reality. So that was true. And a certain reality for me, because before I would use weed to like really escape my reality. Shit, I was smoking like 10, 12 blunts a day. Yeah, like a lot. And I was using that as a way of escaping my life at that time. I was going through some depression. So that I need this to function. I need this to chill. I need this so I can be able to tolerate other people and all this other stuff like that. And the relationship at that time was very addicting. The relationship with it at that time was very escapism-ish with it. And I was able to honor that. But what started to happen was with my weed, the way I do it now, it's for me more like a wine. I use it, like when you drink a wine, because some people have a wine, they have like their glass of red wine to like chill out for a little bit. You're laughing because like just how it resonates, and like like using it as a wine, use it as like a little pleasure thing. Like when you go to a restaurant and you want to, and because you do it, you go to the restaurant, you get the little dessert because you just want to have that little dessert, or like when you get your ice, when you use your ice right now, as we were talking about it, with like having your ice, it's like your wine as well, and it's a different relationship with it. So with the weed now, for me, it's a different relationship. I use it for like, sometimes I just want to chill. Sometimes I even use it for meditation. Sometimes it just takes you to meditation, but it's not something that like I need, like, okay, I need to smoke this joint. I need to do my edible so I can be able to function. And also it's good for my body for relaxing. I just thought about that. Fucking CrossFit, like, I love CrossFit, but my body gets like pretty tense up and sore. So it really helps me to relax more, to be able to stretch more. But it's more of a beneficial thing. I'm not escaping. I'm using it as a way of intentionally doing stuff, or maybe just want to chill out and relax, even though I'm already relaxed and chilled out. But like, it's an experience that I'm allowing myself to experience. But before, I was feeling shame and judgments because I was told by things outside of me, people outside of me, teachings outside of me, that that's not the right thing to do and all this other stuff. And I came to this point like, maybe it's not the right thing for you. But my question is, who the fuck are you to tell me what's right for me? I don't mean it like in an asshole type of way, but it's my own journey, my own experience, but also checking in with myself with my intent behind why I'm doing whatever I'm doing. We can look at whatever we're looking at, or whatever somebody's doing, and say, that's not what to do. That's horrible. That's that's wrong and all this other stuff. But then like, how much are you able to actually have a conversation with somebody to understand why they're doing what they're doing? To understand their intent behind why they're doing what they're doing. And also like, what is their preference in the moment? What experience do they want to have in the moment? Not what experience that you feel that they should have in a moment based upon your beliefs and whatever it may be. And no judgment. You may feel like that's the right thing. That's the right thing to do. The right thing is to tell everybody to be a certain way or do stuff a certain way. But it's like, is there a question that shit? And it's like, who the fuck are you to tell me what to do? Like that should be the title of the podcast today. And as I'm about to look at the comments and stuff, Kai, please elaborate. Please let me know. Please talk about your ice, the relationship with your ice, because that's a perfect segue, the perfect like analogy, because I know that your relationship with ice now is different than your relationship with ice before.
Interesting. I like to eat ice, and I like it for different reasons at different times. Sometimes I just like it because it's crunchy. Sometimes in the summer, I like it because it's hot outside and it cools me down. Sometimes it's just an opportunity to just sit and be. So before, I was very much addicted. I was like, I need this in order to relax. I need this in order to. But now it's like, I get to, and it's not a must or a need. It's there, but there's no like attachment.
So it's experience with detachment.
Mm-hmm.
See? And oh yeah. Hey everyone, I want to get some comments in here and leave your comments as well. What do you think about this while you're here? So I want to read Peter's. Hey Peter. So Peter said, I think that if anyone enjoys smoking weed, they need to be very close to the other person to let them know. Then will the relationship grow or fade away? The topic just has to be talked about. Vibrations are stronger and one or two people become closer to one another. Yep. That's a great point right there of having like the conversation that was mentioned that the couple was able to have about what the person enjoys of their experiences and what they like in the moment. Obviously, it's just a moment. And even with the ice thing, you love the ice for certain moments. It's not like you're walking around with a freaking thing of ice and like, hold on, guys, let me get some more. It's just like an experience that you like to have in moments, like the ice thing. And it's a different relationship that you have with it. But having the conversation with relationships, especially like intimate relationships too, about the stuff that you do, the reason why you do it. And yeah, it definitely helps a lot for both partners to learn more about each other, why they do what they do, what they prefer. And it helps out in so many different ways. Can you imagine just being able to communicate with your partner what you like in the bedroom instead of just hoping that the person actually could think about what you like in the bedroom, of you actually just saying in the moment the stuff that you love that are enjoyable and pleasurable, and also receiving that back from your partner, as opposed to being upset that the partner is not giving you what you need in the bedroom. Like, come on. Like, really? It's like going to the freaking restaurant and thinking that they're going to give you what you want instead of telling them what you want. Oh yeah, we going everywhere today. We're here to help. We're just here to help and help you guys to expand some perspectives with it as well. And Peter also said, chicken chong, the big joint. That's right. Bible thumpers. Yeah, it could be, that's one way to look, we could look at it with that, but it's just people who are universally just stuck in certain belief patterns about stuff and feel like that's the only way of believing, the only way of doing things. And it's a universal thing. Besides that, like, let's say, like, for money, making money, you gotta work hard, you gotta bust your butt, you gotta that whole entrepreneurial thing, right? You gotta be awake before 4 and you gotta work hard, and you gotta be the first one up and the last one to go to sleep, and that's how you get successful. And yeah, they're right. There's one way. That's one way of doing it as well. And there's also other ways. And also, I prefer my way that allows me to be the way that allows me to flow more. Obviously, there's moments that you need to push yourself too, but also moments you need to, like, chill the fuck out. So there's a lot of different universal things about this, especially with that and the beliefs of feeling like you need to be a certain way. And I'm sure you experienced that a lot in your young life, youngin.
We're the same age, by the way.
Yeah. Who was born first?
6 weeks difference.
Huh? Is that over a month?
6 weeks.
Is that over a month?
Make it mean what you want.
Yeah. But the first year is always the most important year. So that 1 year of advancement that I had over you, I was already like looking around and like getting familiar with my hands and probably touching my balls a little bit, and I was crapping a lot and stuff, and like realized that, like, yo, when I cry, I'm gonna get attention. You were just getting help. You was out the womb. Like, it was like, I was like, yo, I'll be back. Like, before we incarnated in the body, physical body, I'm like, yo, all right, I'm gonna go scope this out real quick and stuff like that. I'm gonna let you know how this thing is and everything else, so that way I can help school you, you know? So you know what I really feel like what happened?
What?
I was like, I ain't going. I don't want to go. I don't want to go. No. So then what happened was she was like, okay, she was the one who volunteered to come here. I'm the one who was like, yo, I don't want to go to this shit. I know it's going to happen. I was going to come here. I'm going to be in my human suit and I was going to die. I'm going to go through some shit. I just want to chill in this dimension in heaven and shit. Like, why am I going to come here? So then she's like, come on, let's go for a walk a little bit. Okay. But hey, let's go look at some like planets and stuff. And was looking at the Earth and stuff. And she's like, yeah, isn't that cool? Like, look a little bit closer. You see that thing? And I looked over and she just pushed me over. It's like, I'm gonna get you back. Oh, what up, Moon Eagle? We have an eagle spotting. So Thomas Moon Eagle, who was our guest, was it 3 times? Two, three?
He's a legend.
Legend, yeah. So what he said was, plant medicine is great. How it synergizes with different folks varies. If you know yourself and have a good relationship with a plant, it is an ally. A medicine for one person can be poison for someone else. I think that is why certain things get a bad reputation. Yeah.
We were just talking about that, right?
Let's talk about that now.
Okay.
Ooh, she had a sound effect. Plant medicine. So yeah, the thing I love with plant medicine, and for those of you who don't know plant medicine, is psychedelics. Well, it could be forms of other plants as well, because I feel like all plants are medicine as well. Like the herbs that we take, that's plant, that's medicine. So yeah, that's plant, that's medicine in its own unique way. But let's talk about the psychoactive plant medicine. And with our experiences that we had with it, I think the cool thing that happens with that is just how so many people come from different backgrounds, different traumas, and all the different things that happen leading up to, into that moment of taking the plant medicine together. And then what happens from that is people go through the stuff they go through. But after that, we're so connected. We're so having these conversations with each other and everything else. And we don't see each other as like whatever we may see with preconceived notions before leading to plant medicine. We see each other as connected. We're one and all these different things. We're loving each other. We're feeling this vibe and we're feeling this radiant energy. And then life hits. But even in the plant medicine world, and this is a great lesson too, a great lesson to talk about that I went through, is it doesn't have to be taken the same way. And I totally understand by like certain precautions to like keep people safe and stuff like that, but like that strictness that happens in some of the plant medicine spaces. Sit up tight. Got to separate. Got to do this. Got to do that. Got to do this. Got to do that. And it's like, as Scam lightly was calling me. It's like universe is like, go there, Dell. It's like the same type of the energy as pertains to the religious side of stuff. This is what you got to do to experience God. And sometimes in the plant medicine world, the same type of thing. This is what you need to do. So that way you can have this experience and you can connect with God and all these different things. And it works for some. But what about the people who it don't work for? What about the people who can experience it in a different way and choose to experience it a different way? Like us, we're freaking voyagers. We've done numerous plant medicine shit on our own. And sometimes it went into the thick of it type of thing. Those high dosages sometimes, we weren't ready, or I wasn't ready. Well, you too, you have your experiences as well. But what I realize is like, there is infinite ways of doing everything. And obviously what happens in these things, like the plant medicine or the teachings or the religion and whatever spiritual practice it is, and this is something I got really curious about for myself, asking and want to hear about you, is when they say like, this is the way of doing it and this is the way that's going to work. But then it's based upon how someone else did it for themselves that worked uniquely, their own unique way of doing something, and it worked for them. But now you're trying to force every single other person who's different, have their own unique way of doing stuff, have their own unique way of interpreting things and being with stuff, to do it the same way, and they're going to get the same results as somebody else by them doing something that's not authentically resonating with their soul. And I've been a part of that stuff, and it just doesn't feel, it feels so hard to do it in a way that doesn't like naturally flow with you. That freedom to be yourself and the flow and to learn. I'm not saying like throw shit away that doesn't resonate with you 100%, but like when you're trying to 100% do something that doesn't 100% resonate with you, how can you expect 100% results? Got you, please elaborate.
Let's say that I read a book. And in that book, there were some really cool exercises that were offered as an option to achieve a certain result. So then I read the book and I look at those examples and I'm like, I'm going to give it a try. I'm going to give this one a try. So I give this one a try. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, that was awesome. And I want to do a little bit of this too. Awesome. Next exercise, I look at it and it's like, okay, do this. And I'm like, that doesn't really resonate with me. I'm not going to do that one. Okay, cool. So then I look at the next one and then I'm like, oh, wow, that's a really interesting exercise. I kind of already do that, right? So those are 3 potential responses out of an infinite number of responses. But to note that everything doesn't always have to resonate. And some things can in their own way. There's like, it's like 50 shades of resonation. It doesn't have to be a yes or a no. It can be like a yeah, kind of, maybe, sort of, in my own way. And that can be somewhere in between a yes and a no. And that's cool too. But to give myself the freedom to have that realization is where a lot of the magic is. If I box myself into a B, C, or D, then I lose a lot of the power of the spectrum of my own understanding.
That's a beautiful way of explaining it. Thank you of that. Because like, how can you put infinite in a box? Doesn't infinite in a box become finite? But then also there's some things that resonate with you in the moment to try, like you mentioned, like different practices and things like that. And if it totally resonates with you, cool, do it. But then what happens, and it happened with me, is I'm doing something, and then eventually comes to this point of me expanding myself that I want to learn more about some other things. And before I would think like, oh, it's wrong. You got to hold on to this thing. You got to hold on to this thing as forever or as long for years. And you got to keep doing the same thing over and over again. And my soul is like, I want to learn more about doing this. I want to learn more about doing that. I want to, oh, okay, I've done plant medicine now. Oh, I want to learn more about meditation now. I want to learn more of how to meditate and not have to use a plant medicine to be able to get into that space. Oh, cool. Now I want to do a little bit of plant medicine now and being able to go back to that and not shame myself. Before I would shame myself if I felt curious of doing something differently and then want to try it again, the same with something I tried before, like the weed. And you know what's actually curious? And I thought about this shit. I haven't mentioned this to you. So full disclosure with people, because I like to have these conversations because I want to welcome other people to express their truth too. So rapé. You know my experience with rapé. And those of you who don't know, rapé is a sacred tobacco snuff that people use. It's in the jungle and it helps to connect to you, and it's a spirit, it's the sacred tobacco plant. For myself, this was years ago, and this was when I was in a stage of depression. One of the infinite stages, I would say. And at that time, I was using it sort of like when I was using weed, to like 10, 12 blunts a day. But with rapé, because normally you do it like a sacred thing. Okay, cool. I'm doing that. But it came to a point for me when I was using that shit consistently, like 10, 12 times a day, like a morning coffee throughout the day, middle of the night, all this other stuff. And I was curious about it because I got invited to be in a circle in a couple of weeks. And in the circle, they mentioned, oh yeah, there's going to be rapé available. And it sparked something in me. I'm like, I had a strong addiction to that shit. And what got me curious, because it reminded me of the weed thing, but also it's like, can I be able to do it with the same thing with weed as like smoking wine and stuff like that? And I sat with that and I was like, yeah, I could. But then also I'm like, I asked myself even deeper questions. Do I even need to do that to get into why would I feel like I need to do it again? And I asked that question to myself, and the part say like, oh yeah, to like connect more into the space and be more present and all this other stuff. And I was like, I challenged that. I was like, aren't you already doing that? So really, and then it got even deeper. It's like, oh man, if I go into spaces, people, I don't want to like tell them no. I don't want them to feel upset that I would say, nah, I don't need it. I'm good. I'm here. But then this other part of me was like, yo, like, it's your fucking truth. It's okay. But then also I can be in a space that people are doing stuff that I have done before, an addictive pattern, and be okay with it and not judge them, not judge myself. But also I gave myself the permission of I can choose to do it, or I can choose not to do it. It's my preference. So it was a great monumental shift that happened in that. And then from there, and that's wow, that was one of the catalysts from last week when I told you for like pretty much the whole last week I was in mystical land when I was just like here, but then I wasn't here. Now I'm like here, but then I'm more here than I was last week, I would say. But that was a great experience to actually be able to talk about that live, but then also to bring the awareness to that. Have you had any experiences like in that aspects of things in which like something you potentially be put in a space with something before the, oh God?
Mm-hmm.
Please tell as I look through the comments.
Food.
That's a good one.
I made a decision within myself that I'm just going to listen to what feels good in the moment. And I caught myself trying to plan, oh, I'm going to do this for the next couple of days, or I'm going to not do this for this amount of time. And I was like, what happened to actually listening to what it is that resonates with me? I don't want to say what I want because that's a whole other dynamic. What I want and what actually resonates in the moment for doing tend to be two different things sometimes too. So I'm committed to listening, and that feels good for right now. Maybe something else will feel good later.
You heard what you just said, which is pretty potent. You give yourself permission in every moment based upon what's going on in the moment. It's like you have infinite permission for yourself. That's monumental. Sometimes I feel like permission could be like one way or another. I'm going to find you. I'm going to get you.
Good point.
Peter said, I never knew. And he said, the communication between both of us is special. Oh, yeah. Thank you. And it takes special ears to hear that. So give yourself a pat on the back as well, buddy. But yeah, man, this was really good. Good conversation, flow different ways, and that permission to shift. And also with the food thing. I remember, like for yourself, when you're following your routine, that routine had limited permissions with stuff. But then as you start to expand more for yourself consciously, your permission expanded more. And look where you are right now.
Yeah.
Had Fruity Pebble nachos yesterday.
And I feel good.
Yeah. You see what my shirt says right here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man. Oh, we got people are coming in here now. Hey. Yeah, take care, brother Moon Eagle. You have an amazing day as well.
Magical one.
Magical, amazing, same thing, just different words with it. Kick some ass today. Take some prisoners. Take no prisoners. Can't take prisoners. Sorry. That's a cult. Oh. So good to have this conversation. So good to connect with whoever is here. It's always so much fun to just have these candid, conscious conversations, and they'll never be the same without you guys here, and we appreciate you. And yeah, and as Peter just said right there, to just be oneself with others is a blessing. Yeah, just like just being able to be yourself and give yourself that infinite permission to be yourself. It saves so much energy to try to like manipulate yourself to be something other than who you are in the moment. There's so much effort to, oh, make sure that whatever way I need to be to please others type of thing. It's like, yo, here I am. This is who I am. This is where I'm at. This is what's going on. Talking about this. Just going to flow and see what happens. But also it gives other people permission to be themselves as well. And back to like the plant medicine thing, that's what it actually does. It gives people permission to be themselves. When we actually can drop the stories of things that are stopping us from being ourselves. So this was great. We'll be back next week with this. And then of course, was it on, are we doing it tomorrow? Or you're going to be in New York, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We'll definitely be back on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
So Friday at 1 p.m., we're going to be here live with Raw Truth. And I believe we're going to take it somewhere, because we were talking, what we were talking about on Friday was that we're going to say this for the next conversation. Got to watch the recording. Shout outs from Shadow Cat. Shadow Cat says hello. What is up, Shadow Cat? And what is up, Garrett, Yael, Kitty? I'll call him Sir Kitty from Kitty Lot. Oh man, love you guys. And it's always a pleasure to like be here and you guys show up as well. This was great. This was fun. This was exciting. And until next time, stay
Magical.